Have you ever felt like the world was crumbling around you, with no safety net, no one to catch you? Imagine standing on the edge of despair, whispering those heartbreaking words, "I have nowhere else to go." That's exactly where our story begins today. But hold on, because what happens next isn't just a tale of survival. It's a miracle of human connection that could change how you see kindness forever. If this hooks you, smash that like button right now, and hit subscribe so you never miss these inspiring stories that remind us we're all in this together. Let's dive in. Rain pounded the streets of Willow Creek like angry fists from the sky, turning the small town into a blurry watercolor of gray and regret. Sarah Thompson, barely 22, clutched her soaked backpack tighter against her chest as she trudged through the puddles, her hair plastered to her face, hiding the tears that mixed with the downpour. She'd been evicted that morning. Her landlord's voice still echoed in her ears. "Rent's due, kid. No more extensions." It wasn't just the apartment. It was the last thread of stability in a life unraveled by loss. Her parents had died in a car accident 2 years ago, leaving her with nothing but grief and a mountain of medical bills. Jobs came and went, waitressing, retail, odd gigs, but nothing stuck. Friends, they faded when the calls for help became too frequent. Now homeless and hopeless, she wandered toward the only place she could think of, the old community center on Elm Street. It was a long shot, but maybe they'd have a shelter bed or a hot meal. Inside, the fluorescent lights buzzed like judgmental whispers. Sarah dripped water onto the linoleum floor, her sneakers squeaking with every step. The place was mostly empty, save for a few volunteers packing up for the night. At the front desk sat a man in his mid-30s, his broad shoulders hunched over paperwork. His name tag read, Mark Reynolds, volunteer coordinator. He looked up, his kind blue eyes meeting hers. There was something wary in his gaze, like he'd carried his own burdens too long. "Can I help you?" he asked, his voice gentle but firm. Sarah hesitated, her throat tight. I have nowhere else to go," she whispered, the words tumbling out like a confession. She expected pity, maybe a referral to some overcrowded shelter. Instead, Mark set down his pen and leaned forward. "What's your name?" he said simply. "Sarah," she replied, surprised by the question. No one had asked her that in days. She was just another face in the crowd. Mark nodded. "Sarah, I'm Mark, single dad to a rambunctious 6-year-old named Lily. We're closing up soon, but let's talk. Coffee." He gestured to a pot in the corner. It wasn't much, but in that moment, it felt like salvation. As they sat in the dimly lit break room, Sarah poured out her story. The accident that stole her family, the debts that drowned her, the endless cycle of rejection. Mark listened without interruption, his face etched with empathy. When she finished, he didn't offer empty platitudes. Instead, he shared his own scars. "I lost my wife 3 years ago to cancer," he said quietly. "Lily was just a toddler. I was a mess, working 2 jobs, barely keeping it together. This center saved me, gave me purpose." He paused, stirring his coffee. "What if I asked you something crazy? Do you like kids?" Sarah blinked. "Kids?
Yeah, I guess.
I babysat in high school." Mark smiled faintly. "Lily's nanny quit last week. I need help. Someone to watch her after school. Help with homework. Maybe cook a meal or 2. It's not much pay, but it comes with a room in our house. No strings, just a chance." Her heart raced. Was this real? A stranger offering her a lifeline. Doubts flooded in, trust issues from a life of letdowns. But desperation won. "Why me?" she asked, voice trembling. "Because I've been where you are," Mark replied. "And sometimes all we need is one person to believe in us." That night, Sarah followed Mark to his modest home on the outskirts of town. It was a cozy 2-story with peeling paint and a swing set in the yard. Lily, a bundle of energy with curly brown hair and her father's eyes, bounded out to greet them. "Daddy, who's this?" she chirped, eyeing Sarah curiously. "This is Sarah. She's going to stay with us for a bit," Mark explained, ruffling Lily's hair. Lily tilted her head, like a big sister. Sarah knelt down, forcing a smile through her exhaustion. "If you'll have me." From that first evening, life shifted gears. Sarah's room was a converted attic, small but warm, with a bed, dresser, and a window overlooking the garden. It wasn't luxury, but it was hers. No more streets, no more fear of the unknown. Mark showed her the ropes, Lily's school schedule, favorite snacks, peanut butter on apples, and bedtime stories, anything with princesses who saved themselves. Sarah dove in, grateful for the structure. But challenges loomed like shadows. The first hurdle was trust. Sarah woke screaming from nightmares about the accident, her cries echoing through the house. Mark would knock softly, offering a glass of water in silent company until she calmed. "It's okay to not be okay," he'd say. Lily, too, tested boundaries. Tantrums over homework, tears missing her mom. Sarah, drawing from her own pain, learned to comfort her. "I lost my mommy and daddy too," she confided one night, braiding Lily's hair. "But we can remember them together." That vulnerability forged a bond. Lily started calling her Sissy Sarah. Money was another beast. Mark's job as a mechanic paid the bills, but barely. Sarah's nanny gig covered basics, but her debts nagged like a persistent ache. Creditors called relentlessly, threatening lawsuits. One evening, after Lily was asleep, Sarah broke down at the kitchen table. "I can't keep running from this," she sobbed. Mark sat across from her, his face serious. "Then don't. Let's face it head on." Together, they pored over her finances. He introduced her to a financial advisor at the community center, who helped negotiate payment plans. Sarah took on side gigs, tutoring kids online, selling handmade crafts from recycled materials she'd learned in art therapy sessions. Slowly, the debt mountain shrank, but the biggest challenge was internal. Sarah battled self-doubt, whispering that she didn't deserve this kindness. "What if I mess up?" she'd think, watching Mark juggle fatherhood and work with quiet strength. He had his own demons, guilt over not being enough. For Lily, loneliness that crept in at night. One stormy evening, similar to the one that brought Sarah to them, Mark confessed over shared pizza. "I was scared to let anyone in after losing Emily. But you've brought light back into this house." His words cracked something in her, a wall she'd built around her heart. As weeks turned to months, the trio became a family. Sarah enrolled in community college, pursuing a degree in social work to help others like her. Lily thrived, her grades improving, her laughter filling the home. Mark even started dating again tentatively, with Sarah's encouragement. "You deserve happiness too," she'd say. Yet, life threw curveballs. Lily fell ill with a severe flu, landing in the hospital. Sarah stayed by her side, reading stories and holding her hand, while Mark worked overtime to cover costs. In those tense hours, Sarah realized how deeply she'd invested. "Please be okay, kiddo," she whispered, tears flowing. Lily recovered, but the scare united them further. Another trial came when Sarah's ex-boyfriend, Jake, resurfaced. He'd abandoned her after the accident, but now, hearing she was stable, he wanted back in. He showed up at the house one afternoon, all apologies and empty promises. "I miss you, babe. Let's start over." Sarah felt the pull of familiarity, but Mark's question from that first night echoed. What if? What if she chose better? "No," she told Jake firmly. "I've built something real here." As he left, defeated, Mark stood on the porch, pride in his eyes. "You did good," he said. Seasons changed, and so did they. Spring brought renewal. Sarah graduated with honors, landing a job at the community center. Lily turned 7. Her birthday party a joyous affair with balloons and cake. Mark proposed to his new girlfriend, Anna, who embraced Sarah like a sister. But the true turning point was a quiet conversation one autumn evening. Sarah, now confident and healed, sat with Mark on the porch swing. "I think I'm ready to move out," she said. "Get my own place." Mark nodded, though his eyes glistened. "I'm proud of you. But remember," as she packed, Lily clung to her. "Don't go, sissy. I'll visit every day," Sarah promised, "and you can sleep over anytime." Moving day was bittersweet. Sarah's new apartment was tiny but hers, earned through grit. That night, alone but not lonely, she reflected on her journey. From "I have nowhere else to go" to "I have everywhere to explore." Years later, Sarah ran her own nonprofit, helping homeless youth. She married a kind teacher named Tom, and they had a daughter, named Lily in honor. Mark walked her down the aisle, Lily as maid of honor. Their bond endured, a testament to one simple question's power. Friends, if this story touched you, the way a single dad's compassion transformed a lost soul into a beacon of hope, remember, kindness changes lives. It starts with one act, one question. Who's in your life needing that lifeline? Share in the comments below. And if you're inspired, like this video, subscribe for more heartwarming tales, and turn on notifications. You never know when a story might change your life too. Thanks for watching. See you next time.